Hello James, welcome to The Real Review. We're speaking to James Penton, Assistant Winemaker at Voyager Estate, Margaret River, which this year is one of our top wineries of Australia 2022. Congratulations on that, James, and welcome.
Thank you, Huon. Thanks for having us, and thanks for the accolade and inclusion in the top 52 wineries of Australia.
No worries, no worries. And we're looking forward to seeing you at our exhibitions. And I believe that you have a new chief winemaker at Voyager. Steve James has now gone off to do his own thing. Can you tell us who the new guy is and a bit about him?
Yeah, so it's Tim Shand, who's previously been at Punt Road for quite a number of years and gone through the winemaking, been winemaker there and through to general manager. So it's sort of a next step in his evolution, and it's exciting to get him over on the west side of the country and have a look at some Margaret River fruit and our styles and things that we're trying to achieve on our vineyards at the site.
Yes, and you're an assistant winemaker. How long have you been at Voyager?
I've been 15 years, so a bit over, just completed 16th vintage there, so I do enjoy it.
So you know where all the barrels are stashed and where all the good stuff is?
Yeah, I certainly do, and have a real good understanding of the vineyards these days, so that's a real added bonus.
Well, I've got a bottle of your Chardonnay here, the 2020, and on the back label, of course, it says Australian Certified Organic. Is that the first one that's had that on the back label? I know you're newly announced that you're almost 100% organic in your vineyards.
Yeah, so 2020s were our first release of fully certified wine. So the journey, the actual certification journey started in 2017 and a 3-year process for that. And then that's our first release. So it's extremely exciting. We're nearly at a bit over 90% of certified vineyards on the estate. There's a few young vineyards that'll be completely certified next year. So as of 2023, every wine from the portfolio will be organic, which is really, really exciting.
Were you going to stop there, or will you go the whole hog and be biodynamic at some stage?
We've always said we would never rule it out, but I guess sort of our initial steps were into the organic phase and using, I guess, that real science understanding that we have as winemakers and viticulturists to help that, and certainly adopting some more biodynamic philosophies in those approaches that we've started to utilise at the estate. So
the founder of Voyager Estate, Michael Wright, was a real vineyard man, I believe, and he would have been very proud, I think, that you've gone organic, wouldn't he? What do you think of that?
Yeah, certainly. And I guess Michael's big passion was the soil. And that's one of our great advantages at Voyager is his soil mapping he went through on the site selection. But I think, yeah, like you said, he would just be absolutely chuffed that we've gone down this road. And I guess that was our focus, to really start from the ground up and work in that soil and really build a super healthy life within that soil system. And that will really move up the vine into fruit quality and things like that in the future.
Well, this Chardonnay in front of me is a very fine wine, and I think Voyager Estate of Chardonnay has become even finer and more intense, more linear, more focused over the years. Is that deliberate? I mean, in the old days, Margaret River Chardonnay, when it first became famous, was big and rich and full-bodied. Now that seems to be becoming more streamlined. Is that a conscious decision, do you think?
From Voyager perspective, a lot of it's come through our experimentation with different clonal material. Michael never wanted to settle for just what we had available and wanted to really expand the horizons and see what really worked in Margaret River. So we've got a massive selection of Chardonnay clones from Dijon selections to some of the Davis University selections, plus some of the Australian selections like the Penfolds P58 selections from over east, and of course the classic Gin sort of powerhouse clone we have here in Margaret River. And I think that blending of those and understanding of those different vineyards has just allowed us and forces us probably to make that slightly finer, more elegant perfume style. And Also, I think as a region that in really embracing that coastal influence and understanding that sort of power in not just the fruit, but also the acid power in those wines, and really bringing balance between the two, I think has made those wines slightly more linear and fresher, just inherently through climatic conditions and understanding the climate.
Do you think that organic viticulture means that you have to add less acid to the wines? Is that other people have reported that over the years? I'm just wondering what your experience is.
We're finding that we're getting, I guess, true physiological ripeness slightly earlier than previous in conventional viticulture. So we tend to be starting picking, I guess, maybe a week earlier. Hence, we're holding better acid structures in the wines. I think that's probably the big one we're seeing in terms of the acid aspect, is that ability to get the fruit at true flavour ripeness at a bit earlier stage in the season, which is a benefit with our changing climates as well.
Yeah. Perhaps those comments apply more to Chardonnay than perhaps Reds. Do you find the same experience with Reds?
Hard to tell actually, because we've had for Margaret River, we've had some bit of variability in the vintages over the last couple of years. So our first vintage of going into organics, 2017, was one of our coolest vintages in history, nearly on par with 2006. So it provided some serious challenges during the growing season for that first year of organics. And then we moved into a really hot season of 18 and another cool year of 19 and then the hot year of 20. So we've had a bit of a jump around with those climatic conditions. So not really sure with the Reds, but they seem to be doing a similar thing. And I guess we're seeing just a different textural element to the fruit from organics, I think is one of the big ones that we're seeing.
Right, excellent. And of course, Margaret River has had a charmed life, I think. You've had very few less than highly successful vintages, it seems to me, but just lately you've had a bit of upsy-downsy, as you mentioned. You really have had a more consistent string of vintages, I think, than most regions in Australia. Is that partly to do with the location that in the West Coast that you have more consistent weather?
Yeah, definitely. I think that that whole classic roaring 40s that comes from below South Africa right across the Indian Ocean is a real regulator of our weather patterns. I guess you guys have seen over on the East Coast with La Nina affecting weather patterns in the last couple of years, and it sort of does the opposite to us, where it regulates quite nice dry weather, but we've had a bit cooler seasons. So we're not getting too influenced with troublesome rain events. It's just more the variation in the heat of the season. So it's still extremely consistent in the high quality results that we're seeing.
Yeah, you just have to work a bit harder. And I guess all those lovely winds from the roaring 40s will be making that flag flutter on the flagpole. Do you still run the flag up every morning at Voyager like Michael used to do?
Yeah, we certainly do. We probably don't run it as much because they get quite damaged in the strong winds we have over here. So we've slightly reduced the flag size to limit that, and it's only put up on more selected days.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to talk to you, James, and thanks for coming on the program. James Penton, who is the assistant winemaker at Voyager Estate, who is, of course, Voyager is one of our top wineries of the year 2022 on the Real Review. James, all the best to you, and all the best for the new regime at Voyager Estate.
Thank you, Huon. I look forward to seeing you next week at the events.